trust is in Benjamin's head. You said something that we can all verify, that he was convicted of terrorism. This is a straight hill to die on, defending Ben Beer. You, listen, you can, in your head now, hate all the gays, all the blacks, all the Arabs. I don't care. It's not a crime, okay? If you go and you now kill people because of your hate, first, and fight against terrorism. In Gaza or in the West that you call it, which is Judea and Samaria, they will, if someone goes and kills Jews, they will name a street after them and they will add a page to the curriculum about this hero. This is your both sides. In our side, we convict people. In our side, we investigate. In their side, they celebrate. Got it? Not both sides. When something happens, you also need to see how society reacts. And this is exactly what the difference is.
Daniel, you're not angry.
First of all, you don't know, and you don't know what crimes, and the fact that you say that those are crimes, it's your opinion. You don't know who started. You see a video, and they portray it as the two Palestinians are being evicted. I actually went and I read the entire script, the decision of the court, and if you speak Hebrew, you can find it too, and read it. They proved it was for 20 years in court. 20 years. It's not there. You don't know what's happening in Judea and Samaria. And you assume that the Palestinians are like, oh, just peaceful living. And the settlers, by the way, the word settler means a Jew that lives out of outside of the proper Israel. A Palestinian that will build illegally, there is no name for this.
Yes. Okay, so I'm a settler. I'm one of you, okay?
I'm not a settler. I live in Tel Aviv. And again, the word settler means...
I'll share what...
I just want to tell you about just one sentence in Anshala. This Masfa Yafta. The reason that they claim that the land was there is because, I don't know, I think back then when they were like herding sheep, they used to pass there on their way. So because it was part of their path, they considered it their land. No one actually lived there. And now, when we have this struggle about the Palestinian state, yes, it's on both sides are trying to kind of make claims on the...
You know what's amazing, by the way, Daniel? When I was there, as everybody knows by now, in April, and there was all of this construction in the Arab villages, and they was all empty. They're building like crazy. They don't even have enough people to move into all these houses. So, to be honest, it's sort of like a race. The Jews are building...
First of all, these are very isolated incidents, number one. Number two, Norm is correct. The amount of empty buildings, they build shells just for the sake of building shells. They get funded and have been funded over the years by the EU and by other organizations that have pumped money into the PA. That's number one. Number two, just to let you know, we're stopping the building, but we're not stopping the building by force. We're stopping the building by building settlements, by building villages and farms on hilltops around large population centers so they can't expand anymore. But we're not just building houses for the sake of it. We're creating fields and orchards. We're planting vineyards for wine. We're bringing herds in to make meal and cheese and
we lost you for a minute. Can you go back 1 minute?
You can see Kissan.
We lost you for a minute.
Yeah. I'm just saying that if you stand.
Go back to going to the top.
Hello, Moto.
You can't see all the way to the center.
I actually have that. I have that in Judea. I have that in Judea
You can see into all these different places. There is absolutely no way, not a hope in hell, that Judea and Samaria is going to be given up for anything. And something that's interesting as well, look at the UN resolution back in 1968, 768, after the 60 War. What was said? The language has been warped over years. They did not talk about territories. They talked about territory that might be used in a future peace deal. It doesn't mention what territory. It doesn't mention borders. It doesn't mention anything. Judea and Samaria is the heart of the state of Israel. It always will be the heart of the state of Israel. It's not going anywhere. And every day the Jewish population is growing there. Incidentally, the Arab population birth rates are dropping at an incredible rate. They're not having children. They're
Okay,
not
so you're not just, this is not a cheesecake room. This is a,
So these, no, of course it's not. There's not
this is a river, this is a river to the sea room, from the river to the sea, right? Is what we believe?
Absolutely, 100%, 100%, yes. Jordan is palatable.
Do you understand how people hear that as genocidal when you say, when you see it as a full, when you
It's in your head.
How would it be genocidal with 2 million of them live inside of Israel already? So like that just doesn't make any sense. If they want to live there, they can live there. But it's never gonna be a fucking Palestinian nation there. That's for sure.
What do you mean?
That's what he's saying.
You guys called me an anti-Semite when I presented a one-state solution. You called me an anti-Semite. I presented the same idea, one state.
Yeah, one Jewish state.
After World War II, USSR redrew the map. What used to be Poland is now Ukraine. They told the ethnic Polish people, this is now the Ukraine. If you want to leave, you can go to Poland. And they left, they went to Poland. Nobody called this a genocide. You can't reinvent a new meaning for a word. This is a relocation. It is not a genocide. Don't you understand? It happens after every war. After every war, ethnic groups move around. What is unique about this? Why is this ethnic group deserving special rights 80 years after the fact? There's no reason. There's no logic.
Whatever, I'm not going to harp on definitions here, whatever you call it. I'm not going to harp on definitions, okay? My point is that I presented...
What is the genocide about relocating?
Listen, I don't know if it's genocide or ethnic cleansing or war crimes. I don't know how to define it, okay? Because I'm not a lawyer, and all I can say...
But all of them are negative. Did you notice that all of them are negative? All of them are like...
Like I told you yesterday when we talked about this, I'm not calling it a genocide. I'm just convinced by Israeli experts who claim it is. But I don't know. I don't know.
So you don't know what the word means, right?
I'm not an international law expert, so I don't want to say the
But
claim.
you speak English?
You
speak a little
I can
English?
read the
You don't need to be an expert on international law.
Have you ever heard the word before?
Listen, there's been debates among
Wait, I'm asking
international
you.
law
No, I
experts.
understand there's been debate. Don't run away from the question. Have you ever heard the word before?
Why are you patronizing me? It's rude.
I'm not patronizing
I've
you.
heard the word
I'm
before.
trying to show you that you're smarter than you think you are. You have
Right.
heard the word. You're a Shonda, and I'm sure your parents feel this way.
She's an Ashanda!
I love you.
An Ashanda!
No, Swiftly, she's lost. I don't think that. I think she's very confused and she's very misinformed. And just so you know, I mean, we need to help her. She has a
The scary part is there's a lot more Jews like that in America, just like her. Just like her.
just like her.
Guys,
Yeah.
like it's a minute to say this. You have to correct words when people say words like that. I put it in the chat. If you all remember when Sharon sued Time Magazine for slanderous words about actions of the government or about his actions.
What are you referring to, Abby? What was said here on stage?
I'm trying to say that when someone uses those terms, they're slanderous terms and they have to be corrected. And you have to
Which
call
ones?
them out and remind those people that in the past, when words are used to define actions that aren't truthful, that Ariel Sharon won a lawsuit against Time Magazine for the same kind of behavior. And that she sat, I just listened to her say, well, I can use this word, that word, apartheid, genocide, that's including, doesn't matter, I don't know what the words mean. She said, like, she doesn't understand how dangerous words are. That was my point.
Can a country fight for...
Sorry, I gotta get off.
But it's a person, Sharon, but can a country file like a lawsuit for defamation?
They're looking into this now, actually. They're investigating.
She has a really hard time with the proportionality of phenomena. It looks like her thinking is instinctual, primatological.
Yes, a person can get sued from another country for defamation. Macron, there was somebody in America that was talking shit about him and his wife, pretty much, and they threatened to sue the person. Yeah, and I looked it up, and I was like, wow, you can actually, people from other countries can.
No, my question was in the country.
Harley, they
Yeah,
sued
in the country can sue.
I got another minute. They sued. I'm about to take off. They sued in Delaware. It's in the Delaware District Court right now. My friend's wife. But absolutely.
But those are people, Abby. When you define a country, it's very different. Abby,
Did you hear what it did?
Abby,
Just talking about.
Abby, you're talking about people.
I have a minute. You're
Yeah,
talking
but you're talking about people. You were talking about a country.
Country can also, they have the government. This is my point. When someone uses words and they just absolutely stop them and correct the term, make her define the word, make her sit there and read the definition. Like that's you just have to stop them that way. I'm sorry, it's noisy on the phone. Do you follow me?
Yes, definitely. Have a safe flight wherever you're flying to.
Thanks.
Abby,
Yeah.
just check your WhatsApp. I just sent you a short clip. You gotta look.
I will. I'm going to go. And Harry, look at the hockey season. I'm going to come to Florida. Let's go to a game.
Sounds good. Yeah, definitely let you know. Right now, I'm excited about football starting.
I went yesterday with the Raiders game to 49ers. It's weird to start football this early. When directed to exit, George Thorogood played at that time, which was very cool. You know, water evacuated. The Raiders are going to suck again.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
All right, I'm going to get yelled at by the tenant. Guys, I'll lose it. But anyway, bye guys.
ביי. אני צריך להיזהר שהיא פה. אני לא יודע שניות, כי
Wow, I didn't know that.
כי היא יושבת ביושבי ראש הדירקטוריון של הארגון שלי. אני מציע, אם בטרקאפ בא בחזרה, צריך לדבר איתה רק בעברית.
אני לא יודע אם כולם פה מבינים את זה, אבל...
לא משנה, היא אומרת שהיא מדברת עברית, היא שוטפת.
היא מדברת, תראה, היא לא יודע לשתף, נראה שהיא כן מדברת, פשוט יש לה מבטא מן הסתם אמריקאי כבד, שאינה מדבר על הרש.
היא מדברת חצי קלאץ' כזה.
היא לא ישראלית, שמע, אני לא יודע איפה המשפחה שלה והחברים שלה.
כזאת מצומצמת.
Was there ever a case of a country that filed a lawsuit for defamation? Did it exist? Does it exist? But I don't think it makes sense, to be honest.
Well, it looks like Israel's going to be suing the New York Times shortly.
Interesting. On behalf of who? Of the Israeli government? Of the GHF? On behalf of who? Who's filing the lawsuit?
State of Israel.
Really?
It's very difficult though because it's a constitutional right for freedom of the press. So, you know, it's one of those things where you got to have the money to fund the lawfare. In the case of like, you know, Hulk Hogan and other billionaires who fund these lawfare suits.
Israel has the money.
No, I know Israel has the money, but I mean, do the taxpayers of Israel want to fund these types of lawsuits? I doubt it.
We are funding the gas and food, so I think if you ask me which one I prefer to fund, I will fund the lawsuits, and not just one. I will have a few lawsuits, and I think we should go into that space of lawsuits. Because they are doing this again, from the Hindri Jad Foundation to like file. I think 100 hostages or like victims are suing UNRWA. I think.
Daniel, I think Stacy wants to come up and speak. Stacy, come.
And do you guys just accept? Do you accept Buttercup as just being political? I I mean, because that's what I have come to learn on Clubhouse is that all communication is political. So she is literally being her little mini politician when she comes in here and obfuscates and dodges, ducks, and creates her little drama you know segment. I mean, I think people are just being political, and that's her way of being political.
I think evolutionary psychology is a better way of looking at Buttercup and Bima.
Well, one is Jewish.
It's the instinct. It's the desire to believe in the equality of.
I know.
Speaking.
I get it. He's in the Matrix, but I mean.
But if you look at the chat, for example, and like the Stacy that swiftly, she's like an anti-Zionist, anti-Israel, but she's like supporting Buttercup. So if Buttercup will come back and maybe she can see who she's sleeping with, maybe it will help her wake up.
Well, I mean, to say anybody is, the same person or similar is ridiculous. Like, Bima is not Buttercup. Buttercup is not Bima. I'm just saying that even within the Jewish ecosystem or echo chamber, there's still a political component to the communication where people are vying for, you could call it political attention, I suppose.
That's because some of these American Jews have been so indoctrinated into the left woke, politics here that they strongly believe the views of the woke left, then they would have actually, the homeland of the Jews where we come from. So it's pretty fucked. So it just means that they just weren't either raised by being proud Jews or had any connection to Israel at all. Apparently, she says her family lives in Israel, which doesn't mean shit. Honestly, if that could be family that she doesn't have any good relationship with at all. So, but it's just that's what I've seen. I know Jews like her here in America. She's not the only one I've met here before that talk like that. There's plenty of them. I mean, you can see them all over the internet as well. They're with the Palestinian flags. Notori Karta is a good example. They're pretty much like the same kind of concept what she talks about. Same type of shit. So they're all out there.
Completely different ideology. They are not like.
They believe in the same shit. They believe in the same shit.
Not really.
They believe in a Palestinian country.
Not really. They are really just against the Jewish country. It doesn't matter what the solution is. For now, because there's this Palestinian bandwagon, though they joined it, but it's not like they really believe their narrative. They just kind of exploit it.
I think your family lives in Ramallah.
But they're using like a propaganda piece here in America. You see all the postings and pictures with them, and they go out to the street and they go with the pro-Palestinian protesters, and then they use it saying like, look, there's Jews that are for Palestinians, for Palestinian.
Yeah, they benefit. They benefit from each other.
No, they definitely do.
But it's not the same ideology. It's like the Shia and the Sunni could hate each other, but when it comes to like hating Israel, then they are like best friends. All right, different ideologies. Just for this cause, they are like joining hands.
The other side is taking advantage of the morality of the West. They do so tauntingly. We heard Amir excitedly announcing, yeah, but it's genocide, right? It's genocide. It's like they're trying to, find the out, find the in.
Well, here's a political statement. Why would they burn down the olive trees?
And we'll come back with why did they murder 1,200 people and rape and torture and took hostage and starve and destroyed Gaza, but the olive tree.
They have a hard time with the proportionality of phenomena, real world phenomena, beyond Buttercup. They think emotionally. They have wishful thinking based on the moral axiom of the past.
She loves the most.
She loves how much, or she loves Buttercup?
Look at this.
who cares? She's a troll. No one cares.
So Buttercup's previous profile on this app was L. I don't know if any of you remember her, but her name was L on here. Not that it matters, but if people change their profiles to come on here to have that type of communication, I mean, I just like to document it.
Blank slate has evolved into wokeism, which sees all cultures as equal except Western culture as evil and oppressive. It puts totally blame on the perceived power for the party, so the perceived power of this party is totally excusable.
I have an Israeli Defense League book by Kahan. These Kahanists, everybody throws that term around like Zionist. And this book by Kahan is so mild in terms of, aggression or, extreme behavior. It's a very mild book on organizing and defending the Jewish people. So people who throw that term Kahanist, it's like, okay, well, let's read a Kahanist book and really talk about it and see what's in there about self-defense and security.
We should read that book to Amos, because he's the one who throws around that term the most out of anybody on this app, I think. So that's definitely something we should read to Amos one day.
You don't need to read it. Just ask him what is a Kahanist. He would not know. Like, by the way, say the Zionist. If you would ask people what is a Zionist, they would not know. He called me a settler, okay, the other day, because I don't know, one of you kicked him off the stage, and this is why I'm a settler. So those are just words, okay, just like words that I really don't get it. Sounds like Zionist. No one really knows what it is.
Daniel, it's all the same, man. They pretend they understand the points. The moment you press them, they fall back on the same tired slogans of occupation, genocide, apartheid, because they're not really engaging, They're not engaging.
Yeah, and then either they would do like a tantrum that they, I don't know what, and they would leave, or that they would let someone else navigate. They would not be able, this is why I try sometimes to kind of drill down and not let them move the conversation somewhere else, because they would say something triggering, so someone else on stage will come up and take the conversation somewhere else.
It's all very primal, guys. It's monkey stuff, everything.
No, it's a safety net. Because without it, they'd have to face the complexity and admit the narrative doesn't make sense, it doesn't hold up.
And that they supported, but basically, if they would admit it, like a lot of people in the West would have to admit that they were supporting the Nazis of our days, And yet, to understand something like this about yourself, they create this self-protection mechanism to kind of take down every truth, so their entire identity will not collapse.
Well, that's politics in a nutshell.
The reconciliation of justice and truth in the West is one of the most important nodes for total human justice. Right now, it's very confused, very confounded. It can be easily explained, but the people who follow that orthodoxy, wokeism, in its most extreme, will not concede those points for a variety of reasons, mostly practical, for social purposes, career purposes.
On X Spaces last night, and I hear it all the time, it's that the Jews, the Zionists, have infiltrated the U.S. government, and we have to rout them out there in control of everything. There's this Jewish paranoia and insanity, this Jewish derangement syndrome that a lot of people come on this app, but also primarily on X Spaces. And it's almost like a category of television or it's like a specific category that they choose to pick up every night and run with that, flag. It's very, to me, it's insane and extremely dangerous. And at 42, I had never heard this kind of, political insanity that Jews are everywhere, and they're in control of everything. It's really scary, sick. And if you ever meet somebody like that in the real world, it's like, holy shit, but the fact that people come on X and do it every night of the week is insane. It's called JQR, which means Jewish Question Radio. And if you want to get your rocks off and troll some people, go into that X space. They hold it every night. It's called JQR.
It sounds a lot like what the Nazis did. That's exactly what the Nazis did, So it's scary as fuck that this is happening still to this day. That us as human beings haven't learned from history, right? So disgusting, bro. Just disgusting people.
There should be no ambivalence in the West. Anti-Zionism is anti-civilization, and anti-Semitism is anti-good.
Well, people like I don't want to say M. Kapara Al or Buttercup. She's like the low-hanging fruit of that, crisis where I think it comes down to education. That uneducated people.
That's not M. Kapara.
No, I know it's not. I tried to fix myself there. Her former profile's out. It doesn't matter. The point is, Buttercup, our sweet little Buttercup. She's not as sweet as she sounds, as everyone has figured out.
Oh, we know. Trust me, we know.
Oh, she's dangerous. She's psychosexual.
She was just in the mirrors room last night, bro. They were playing a recording of when Shlomi first went in there after he, shortly after he got back on that, after being really, rescued and everything. And they were, the way that, I can tell some of the voices who were asking him questions. I know who they are just from, them being on the app for so long. One of them was Prince, that piece of shit, midget. He was, asking, he was like degrading Shlomi and some of the shit that they were saying, some of the questions that they were asking him, and, hope for his death too. He said, I wish you would have just died, something like that. And she, after they stopped the recording, the first thing that she says to them is, you treated him so well. My God, you guys treated so nice. I'm actually very, very proud of you guys for how you guys treated him. And one of the guys that were on there that was asking questions in a very degrading way as well was Soren, the guy that disappeared. So yeah, you could definitely, everyone knows his voice, and he was definitely asking those questions. So just gives you an idea of how long ago this video or this recording was. And after the fact, they were like saying, oh yeah, he was saying that it was that Shlomi was agreeing that there was a Hannibal directive, and all this stuff. And like Shlomi never. And I was listening to the whole thing. I have a little bit of it recorded too. He never said anywhere in that recording that he agreed to them about some Hannibal directive being, happening there. So it was pretty, disgusting to hear after the fact that she's cuddling them and saying that they treated him very nicely, when in fact anybody with the right mind who would listen to that would know that that was the complete opposite of how they treated him in that, I don't even want to call it interview, but whatever the fuck it was, a clubhouse room. So, of them berating him with questions. So yeah, she's dangerous. You guys need to watch out for her. Don't let her sweet voice make you guys think that she's, she's really wanting to learn, because that's what she kind of said last night. She's like, I want to see if I can learn, but probably won't. So it's like, then why would you even say that? I'm not trying to, make her come to our side or anything like that. But definitely, how some of you guys in today, destroyed her. I think that was great. That's what we need to keep doing. She's very easy to debunk. When people are quoting The Guardian and Haaretz, you're a joke. Like, that's all I can say.
I would just say that all this communication on all these social audio platforms, there's one intention, and the primary intention is to get you angry. And I really do believe that's what most of these people are trying to do by gaslighting and making extremist, profane, vulgar statements, is to literally get you angry so they in turn can get their dopamine feedback. Because
He's a clubhouse architect.
Yeah, it's like psychology 101. It's very crazy that people want, like, Daniel, I love you, Daniel, but you have spent so long on this app. getting your anxiety up, your blood pressure up, your dopamine up, and I salute you for doing that. But on the flip end of that, all these anti-Semitic trolls and Jew-hating trolls on this app and X, they live to essentially catch flies and fish and watch them struggle and scream and go crazy that they've been,
I don't speak to those people anymore. I don't go to a museum. I don't have any patience to all this El Aqsa and Aziz. I don't even engage with them because it's pointless.
I never went in their rooms to begin with, and their sweet voices doesn't mean anything because the tone of their voice doesn't change the truth. So they can speak softly, calmly, even sound compassionate, but if what they're saying is built on lies and hatred, it's still a poison. And actually, the calm delivery makes it even more dangerous because it tricks people into thinking it's reasonable when it's just anti-Semitism wrapped in pretty language or language like tone of language. The style doesn't matter, the content does. And the content is always about delegitimizing Israel and attacking the Jews. And it's not just random criticism either. For a lot of these people, it's almost like a fetish. It's like an obsession for people like Amir. It's a fetish for them to delegitimize their state. That kind of obsession goes much beyond politics. It's literally just hatred dressed up as activism, and it exposes how deep the anti-Semitism really runs.
It's all very simple. It's all very cut and dry. It's all very aligned with what is good, what is evil. And I wish there was some rhetorical maneuver in these rooms where when Israel is put on the defensive, considering the overwhelming proportionality of how dishonest that is and how it wastes time, there should be a way of mutual understanding that we're not doing this because it leads nowhere and is dishonest and you're victim blaming. It's victim blaming.
Well, I think if you're a moderator or a green bean on this app, it's your responsibility to be an educator. So instead of having endless conversations with somebody like, Buttercup, I mean, it should have some type of action or to do for somebody like that to read with you and get them reading some type of, source document, something. Because to let people just do their political propaganda show, you're the sucker or the patsy at that point.
But it is useful to understand them, right? It's a very good learning experience.
Yeah, up to a point.
Yeah.
Up to a point, yeah. But it's at such cost emotionally.
Yeah, there's only so much I can listen to a fucking idiot.
You have to be really far gone to be an active anti-Zionist. And it shows all the different kinds of hate there are, and they all come from same bad place, different bad places.
Well, there was a protest outside my former office, and it was all these Free Pally people, but there were Jewish children, young people mixed in with this crowd. And I said to this girl who was about to get arrested, I said, "Are you Jewish?" She says, "Yeah." I said, "Don't ruin your Shabbos. Don't ruin your Shabbos." And she was giggling, and she got arrested. I mean, I would love to have grabbed her and yanked her out of that line, but I'm not going to get physical with somebody and next thing have a problem. So these people are totally brainwashed, completely and utterly. And that's why I say, somebody who's a young Jewish girl who has family in Israel, comes out of Israel, is going to come on this app and tell you about, the genocide and the violence of the state and the evils of the state and things like that. I mean, that's why I say I like to read books, so I'm just saying, try reading books with these people.
It's no coincidence that they're the most this and that people you know that for the most part, especially in this cause, they're stuck reading Elon Tape and some other people who they believe are, because they're contrarians to Israeli society, that they're more factual or more honest about the facts and details. So they won't read or engage with other sources.
Just read.
Because they believe it's all propaganda.
Read the Siddur Avodot Israel. You know, I mean, read anything from Sinai Publishing. So, you know, any old book out of Israel. I mean, it could be a spirit, it could be the Tanya, it could be the Torah, anything, you know, to essentially break the mind virus that has infected their soul. And I would read spiritual books, you know, Jewish spiritual education books with them. Because they're hyper politicized, and you need to depoliticize their polarity, and you can do that with, you know, Toiva.
Primary, secondary, seconds on the secondary books, Johnson, Sachs, Keeping Head. I thought you were going to say Pirkei Avot, and it was your favorite book.
Well, this stuff starts with words. This kind of hatred is very dangerous. It follows the exact same pattern that led to the Holocaust. It never began. The Holocaust didn't begin. The regime didn't begin with before the Holocaust came out. It never began with violence. It began with words, with spreading lies, blaming Jews for everything, and convincing others that Jews were the threat. And the language slowly but surely poisoned society until violence against Jews became acceptable, which we're seeing now. And eventually, millions were murdered. History can repeat itself. That's what happens in history. We hear the same kind of rhetoric today, lies about Israel, demonization of Jewish people, constant scapegoating, and it's not just debate. It's a warning sign. And I wonder, like, have we actually learned nothing from history? If this hatred is still left unchecked, it will grow. And history shows very clearly that things do repeat themselves.
Well, it's like an education crisis, you know, because the now is all important. And a lot of people want to play this history hypnosis game about white structural racism, about how, you know, Ashkenazi Jews are Khazarian converts, and this was their land. It was like the whole thing is like a historical revisionism, and they want you to accept it on the spot as if there's some type of historical, you know, professor, and they're 100% accurate. It's dying on a hill and all or nothing thinking. So that's why I say you can break their mind virus, hopefully, with, you know, a book.
Yeah, they still cling onto these things because there's something much deeper, more sinister driving it. So this is about ideology and resentment and anti-Semitism that gets passed down and disguised as some sort of justice. And if it were only a matter of education, you'd expect the hate to eventually disappear once the truth is explained, but it never does. Which shows it's not just ignorance, it's a willful choice to hold on to the hate. So I think it's much deeper and more dangerous than just an educational issue.
So Tobias, I know I'm one of these people that you see as being misled by this ideology. And
I'm not the only one that feels that, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I understand. So I wanted to ask Daniel something, since he's from Israel, lives in Tel Aviv, and knows sort of the zeitgeist there. I know that, you know, just to give you guys some background, I grew up within this, believing what you believe, the same narrative, same story, and I don't think they lied to me about anything. Then I got older and read books by Israeli historians, the new historians, some of whom Benny Morris is kind of right-wing now, but the others you probably see as discredited because they're too left-wing. But and then it changed my view, and it kind of it's not that I was lied to. I had the same narratives that you had. It kind of shattered my innocence because I learned about some of the massacres in Deir Bala and Lid and all this stuff, right? And I'm sure you guys had similar experiences when these IDF records were revealed in the 70s and 80s, and we found out what the true scope of what happened during 1948. And so I'm wondering, Daniel, how are these books received in Israel? For Tom Segev and Benny Morris and Schleim, like, how do you guys view those historians?
We don't really view them, to be honest. We actually, like, people, I guess, in the West read books
like those about what's going on in Israel. To be honest, it's like not part of the discussion in Israel at all. But you said something about what really happened in 1948. What really happened in 1948?
Well, so this is the IDF records that were opened in the 70s and 80s. They were concealed to kind of keep this like romantic narrative about the independence. And then in 1948, the IDF opened up its records, its interviews, and documentation from what really happened. And so that's where what the basis is for these Israeli historians that have disputing the numbers that disputed are how many people died, how many people were killed. I was told most of them fled, right? And that's the narrative a lot of us were raised with. Like most of them fled.
No, what do you mean? We were not raised by any narrative, to be honest. I didn't deal with this.
Did you learn about the Nakba in school? Did you talk about Nakba at all?
No. Do you know what the Nakba is?
Yeah.
It's a brand, okay? And you know, hold on, the branding Nakba, the word Nakba, I don't know if you, did you read how it's called? This document? No. The actual primary source, the person that wrote, I think it's called The Story of the Nakba. This is where the word Nakba came from. It's
right, I know the origin. Yeah.
Okay, so the Nakba is about, it's all about, I read the entire thing, the refugees, which are not called refugees, they're called Arabs of Palestine that fled, and he's actually saying even before the first bomb, our bombs, was shot, like their bombs, I mean from their side, because they launched the war, the coward Arabs of Palestine, the majority of them fled, and the disaster was the Arab pride of 5 Arab armies that were defeated by a one-day-old Jewish state. The Nakba. The Nakba as the expulsion of Palestinians by the Zionists is a narrative, is a brand. For example, in his book, in this piece, he's talking about 450,000. Then it grew up to 700,000 that were all expelled by Jews, which is a lie. There were over 1 million Jews that were expelled from Arab countries just for being Jews. There is no branding for it.
Okay.
Is anyone in the world taught about the unbranded ethnic cleansing of Jews of 1 million by Arabs? Because the Nakba is a story that was created later on. The reason that I was not taught it is because it literally was just invented.
Okay,
in the 60s,
so you're right.
time
Terminology aside, maybe it's that branding. Maybe it's that branding.
We learned about the War of Independence.
Okay, and did you learn that there were some not nice things that happened to the Palestinians then?
When we say the word war, I think it means things don't nice to anyone.
No, but you know, people were rounded up, and then there was the call. I think it was Ben Gurion, who was the one who made the call and said, "Yeah, you just."
It's very simple, Buttercup. We created the state. They went out in all forces to destroy us. You are now here saying, "Oh, but there were some bad things done to the Palestinians." Check how many villages.
I agree that bad things were done to both sides.
There were no Palestinians back then. Back then, when you said Palestinians, you meant Jews. Those were Arabs of Palestine, many of them from Syria, from Iraq, that they came to work. The story is that they launched a genocidal war against us. This is what really happened in 48, and we defended ourselves.
Okay, I agreed.
Jordan took the West Bank and named it the West Bank.
I have not disputed any of these facts.
So this is the story. This is what we are taught.
Yes, me too. This is what I was taught too. Me too.
But we are taught, listen, we are taught history, not branding, not
I know. And so I'm not
those words that don't mean anything. Like actually history happens dates.
You're conflating a different history book that I'm not talking about. I'm talking about Israeli historians who, when the IDF records of the 1948 War of Independence, the victory, they opened up the records of what happened then and who made what calls and who said we can kill civilians or can't kill civilians, and it all became public, right? That happened. Do you remember when that happened? It was a big headline.
The thing is that you did not read the records, okay?
I read the recap.
No, I know. Hold on. You let someone to pick and choose words and sentences from those reports, probably out of context, to create a narrative and show it for you. If you're really interested, don't let Benny Morris, as you call it, and write the new historians, which means rewriting history, try and find like problems, you will see, for example, the Nakba story, the way that it's presented.
I
So go and read the digest if it's in public. Go read it.
Daniel, I wanted to ask you, we were talking earlier about education, and I was curious if, because, there are a lot of 20%, whatever, I don't know the percentage, Arabs in Israel, and you want to present history in a way that's balanced, that everyone feels represented, their narrative feels represented. So there are in schools an effort to talk about what Arabs see as a Nakba. Whether you consider it one or not doesn't matter, but they call it that. That's part of their shared memory. And so in Israeli schools, they actually do talk about the Nakba, especially after these records were opened, because they acknowledge that there's two versions of history. There always is, right? And so
I don't know where you're getting it, and I will find what's going on.
I'll find a link, but they do teach Nakba.
I don't care about the links. I will ask people that actually have children in
I'll ask
school.
my sister. She teaches in school. In Israeli
And I really hope that you're wrong, and I doubt it, that they are teaching about the Nakba, because the Nakba, this is a framing that Yasser Arafat and his allies, the terrorists, by the way, actual terrorists, not stickers,
Cat phrases, and it's annoying. I agree.
It's meant to kind of catch people. It's about emotions, okay?
Okay,
When
you're talking to me. You're not talking to them, okay?
Talk to me. You are the one that are affected by this, because the emotions kind of take off the logic, and then you don't really ask
Put
people
Kent's
questions.
credit
I
card
have
on.
the same information basis that you have. I just was added new information. I want you to help me
Not
contextualize,
the
okay?
information, the critical
I
thinking.
want to know. Listen,
You don't need to have all the
Daniel, stop
information.
yelling at me. Daniel, I'm not trying to fight with you.
I'm not telling, I'm just saying critical thinking, not...
Okay, so help me think critically about this. Help me think critically. I just put a link in the chat. I want to know what you learned about Lida, that's today's Lud, about the massacre that happened there. What did you learn about that?
I don't know what I learned from this. Like, we didn't go in... It doesn't matter, because... Listen,
People live there now. They should know, they have their narrative of history from their parents.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, a lot of shit happened. Even on the Holocaust...
And people grew up there.
Even on the Holocaust, hold on, even when they teach us about, one second, I want to, so you will understand. Even about when they teach us about the Holocaust, we don't go to every city, every town, and every village. And you know what? Even like decades later, I heard stories about the Holocaust, which are like crazy, like big stories. You don't get to teach all those stories. And the war, and when you teach history, you talk about like, I don't know, like...
You talk about the major battles. No, this was a major battle. The conquering of God was a big battle.
After all the new information you received, are you ashamed to be a Jew? No, it's a serious question. Are you ashamed of...
I mean, my culture is literate, and we read books, and we accumulate information, and we're intellectually honest. So I don't know about your culture, but mine is literate.
The question was about Jews. Answer the question, though. After all this new learned information you received, are you ashamed of your people?
No, I'm proud of my people, because I think we can scrutinize ourselves and be accountable. I wouldn't be on this conversation if I didn't think there was hope for our people to self-reflect.
What should be done? Are you ashamed of what we've done? Are you ashamed? Like, I don't think you're really listening. I think you're more on the defense.
I'm ashamed of certain things that we've done, sure.
Are you projecting the fact that you aren't self-reflecting, Buttercup?
I don't know who said that.
I think that's fucking very important what you just said. Wow.
She just let everything go past her ear.
I'm talking to Daniel. I'm talking to Daniel, who actually knows
but
shit.
you doesn't listen. You just come here, and before Daniel finish, you already formulate the next question. And next question.
No, Daniel and I have been in a conversation for a couple days now, and it's very enlightening and
listen. You just take up people's time. And Daniel is a teacher. She's very passionate about teaching writing, right? And she find that you are very guided, and she tries like writing. Right? Is he? He's he.
Yeah, Daniel's a he, bro. Do you think that Buttercup's a teacher?
No, Daniel is a teacher.
BB.
Yeah, Daniel's teaching.
Exactly.
Buttercup is there, Mr. Buttercup.
See, I think if Daniel did like a 10-minute silent meditation, Buttercup would basically, self-destruct because she needs Daniel to essentially, inflame her candle.
Daniel energy, you are correct.
Danny isn't the only person in this room that reads anything, so I
Why don't you let other people talk to you, Buttercup?
What is going on with the dog piling on Buttercup?
Oh no, Hope is here. I go away. Hope is here. I better go away.
Well, you better stop picking on one person, because that's not cool. But 5 different people have come from Buttercup. I've got...
Before you jump on the bandwagon, nobody's picking on her. She's actually picking on herself. She's picking on Jewish people. She's picking on the fact that she's ashamed of what Jewish people have done. So before you open your fucking mouth and start like...
hi, BB. You're not going to be respectful today then, huh? Because I said something you didn't like. Typical.
No, because
you and I have talked many times.
But you jumped in yet again with misinformation.
I've not spoken to you for months. I haven't spoken to you for months.
You jumped in yet again.
I've not spoken to you for months.
You jumped in yet. You didn't have to speak with me. I'm in rooms that you speak and interrupt and say things that are out of context. So nobody's picking on Buttercup at all. Buttercup is picking on the fact that she's a Jew and she's picking on every Jewish...
I said dog piling, not picking. The two are quite different. About 5 different people. About 5 people. Well, George, you're asking her whether there's a Mr. Buttercup. Have you got children? Like, asking questions.
We do live in a world where
people can't finish a sentence. People can't finish a sentence.
Again, I'm anticipating what you're saying, and you feel wronged by my primate expression, right? You think your status is being threatened by my primate expression, even though you probably know a little bit about me, and so you don't think it's important. What you think is important is that all the eggs are equal. They must be equal.
You don't have to. You don't have to put your kids
That's
around.
what I think.
Do I like the fact that we allow pedophile?
So please,
No, it's not you.
No, I have an issue. I think they should have
Your
your
brain.
But unfortunately,
Okay, my silly female brain.
I don't get to do
Sorry,
that. I'm not a judge. If I was really...
But anyway, at least I stopped the 5, 6 different questions at Buttercup at the
Well,
same
you
time.
didn't stop anything, actually. You didn't. All you did is put a pause on it.
Politicians to have a partner to have. It gave her a breather anyway. BB, you and I have always been fun.
Anyway. It's wild. It's
Daniel, I just want to say legally it's a major turning point in the war. It was a big conquest. So I'm surprised you didn't learn
There he is. What's up? Who's little puppy?
Yeah, so you can see me in my PTR. That's me wearing a Trump hat, a Cubs jersey, holding the Tao Te Ching, a book, and then there's about 15 phones, live streaming me. So, your title is Clubhouse just entertainment? Well, look at my YouTube and you decide. Is it entertainment? Is it trolling? Is it spamming? Is it a waste of time? I think it's art, really. And that's the best way to describe everything is the word A-R-T, art. It rhymes with fart.
That's what I've been saying, John. I'm saying that you're either a madman who needs to be put in a straitjacket, or you're a genius performance artist / social media artist.
I just wish I could get into a movie theater and have an audience and say, okay, everybody, let's look at my YouTube for the next 4 hours and force everyone to watch this incredible Clubhouse experience.
Well, you can if that's something you really want to do. You can rent out theaters in Chicago, and I understand post-COVID, they've been quite cheap. You could rent out a whole theater for a couple $100.
That's a good point. You could do that, actually. Yeah, just rent out a theater, and then if you become a hit, obviously I'm assuming that he'll be able to get into more theaters, right? So, have you ever looked into that? You should take advantage of what you're doing.
Yeah, I'd have to do an Eventbrite and try to do a Facebook, event, and actually do a first staged theater, for Clubhouse, and make it an interactive show, like the Killed Tony show. So I think you could do a cross combo entertainment event experience for people and introduce
Matt,
them to
can we
Clubhouse.
change the title? We're gonna give John the stage, but let's change the title to "How to Properly Lose to the Hood."
See, in one house, Dr. Adams, that joke would kill it. But imagine if there were 400 people in the theater right now listening to you, listening to me, have this exchange, and they're thinking, how am I going to be a part of this interactive Clubhouse experience? And this is where I turn around and say, all right, everybody, pick up your phone and type in Clubhouse into the Google, app search field. Download the app. Type in your profile name, type in your first name, last name, and everybody go to the one house. And the room title is How Do Properly Lose to the Hood. I like it. That's an Ebonic with the Hood. And also, Dr. Adams, I swear, you are the funniest person on this app at this point right now.
No, Adams is hilarious. And here's to highlight how hilarious he is. Adams lives in California, and he's campaigning for a politician in Illinois. Does it look right? So this is craziness. He's not even in the district.
So that was brought up. I don't know if the person wants to mention their name, but they are in this room. Why are you asking people who are not even in that district? I think that was brought up before. But why are you asking for people who don't even have a say in what you're doing, money and all that good jazz?
Because, this is organizing the organizing. And if a community organizer like Dr. Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama, a former CIA agent right out of college, and he now has $1 billion library being built with looks like the Tower from Mordor. I'm just saying that digital donations, as I formerly said, that I believe this is all art and reading very important books about psychology, wisdom, education, governance, human behavior,
Scotty,
all those things.
How are you, brother? While doing yoga, right?
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. It's like people have videos of me and pictures of me in my underpants doing yoga in the sun in my dining room. And they love to bring up my sexy, sweaty PTR photos to try to embarrass me. But to me, the fact that I'm actually physically flexible and trying to exercise and stay in shape, but these, like Dr. Adams, you can call them big backs if you want, but many of these big backs keep those photos of me in their phone. And so I know that a picture of me in my underpants is in a lot of these people's phones. I find that to be what really tickles my jizz.
Yeah, Nicholas said you have cakes.
Listen, the hamstrings are very important. And Matt, I would say, how's your physical flexibility? Are you stretching? Are you breathing? How's your health?
I'm a very flexible guy. Very flexible in what I do on conversations and how I do my clubhouse rooms. And I'm flexible outside too. I know to throw some things around, throw some weights around and all that good stuff. So yeah. I mean, you may just, you just may be better at bending and being flexible than we are. Our sex size don't depend on that. But more power to you, bro.
Thanks, Dr. Adams. And I want to let you know, your Darren LaHood crisis actor videos have gone viral, like in the terms of like 10,000 plus. And I thank you because it's people like you who help push my campaign forward, because without you, I couldn't create this content, and you're doing it for me for free. So thank you.
So how do you see this playing out? What is the final chapter, John, in this magical journey that you've taken on Clubhouse?
I can tell you, we're going to go to Peoria, Illinois, where Darren LaHood lives, and we're going to go to the Peoria Civic Center, and we are going to put on Clubhouse, the experience. Don't vote for Darren LaHood, the rhino vaccinologist, super debt creator. a Dr. Adams and Matt Cool one house production, co-produced by Anonymous and Nye. And the audience is going to say, wait a minute, who is this guy, candidate Congressman John Kitover, and why should we vote for him versus Darren LaHood, who's created $20 trillion in debt? So they can go back and look at all these clubhouse conversations and say, you know what, he has been organizing, he has been raising money, he has been creating a network and a political movement of, co-interested American citizens that want to stop borrowing and spending and create a real economy, not this fake artificial borrowed economy.
Don't ignore me. I said how many?
Well, I'm going to stand on what I said earlier. I'm assuming it was streamed, or maybe it wasn't. Now it is, which is fine. But probably tonight there will be a formal title that will be proclaiming the end of your campaign. And I just want to give you a heads up on that. That tonight is your last night campaigning. And to you, or how's that working out? Like, what do you think about that?
I think it's very interesting that you would project the end of my campaign tonight when I know that is not the end of my campaign. The end of the campaign to elect John Kitover will not end until we basically don't submit on October 27th. If we can't get the, minimum number of signatures, that is when the campaign will truly end.
Which is what?
675, 600.
No.
575. So what I'm trying to tell you is that hold on. Matt asked me. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Adams.
Edmund, you listen. You have to get 0.05% of the total voting population signatures. Okay, which is roughly about 3,700 people. I looked it up, Edmund. So again, you need a lot more than 600 signatures.
No, I think we need 3,000 to play it safe. But Matt, your projection about this evening, I look forward to coming to your room, defending my position. And I will tell you right now, you are 100% wrong, and you will live to eat those words.
Yeah, I guess we will see how that goes. But the signature thing is an issue. I know that you've been vocal about your disappointment and finding